Record. Right. Share screen. All right. Give me a thumbs up. Can everybody see that? All right, perfect. All right, so today I'm talking about my diversity plan presentation for Durand Junior High School. So why do we need a diversity plan? First and foremost, there's not one set in place at our school or in our district. And it also, because of that, we have to look at like, what is it going to help? Well, it will help all students in their cognitive skills, critical thinking skills, and their problem solving skills, even if they're not like in a diversity group. I was going to create a diversity team, and that would be made up of principal, vice principal, and designated teachers. And I'll talk about that in a second as far as like who would be designated for that. And we would reevaluate every 3 years. I would think every 3 years for the first, 2 or 3 times, and then we could maybe extend it. But by doing this diversity plan, we will see more equitable education and a more equitable workplace. So not only would it be good for students, it'll be good for us as well. Just real quick, this is our demographics at Durand Junior High currently. In the bottom right, you'll see how many students we have for 8th and 7th grade. And then it has like the free and reduced lunch where we have quite a few students. And then we have our special ed services, our non-English speakers. And what I'll be looking at more today is like the racial diversity. So in 7th and 8th, we have about 20% racial diversity. And in our staff diversity, we have about 23%. So they are matching up, but we could do better with the staff diversity. So here are the 4 goals of the diversity plan, and I'll dive into each one of those individually, so I won't read them off now. So the first goal is to ensure diversity in curriculum. So part of that, the teachers that would be on the diversity, like the group, the planning committee, would be those that have gone to some sort of professional development for multicultural education so that they can learn more about presenting diversity into curriculum, and then they would come back and give it to the rest of the teachers at the beginning of the year, mid-year, and probably at the end of the year, just to see where we're at throughout the year. We would continue to work with our special education counselors and EL teachers to ensure an equitable education for that group of diverse students. And what I would like to see as far as examples would be English introducing 1 to 2 diverse novels, which they have already started doing. And in history, presenting different voices into the curriculum. And this could work for science, math, all subjects really, just showing different voices as far as female, African American, and other minority voices into the curriculum. Goal number 2 is to hire a more diverse staff. So I showed y'all that we were at 23% staff diversity, and that is something that we could do better on. We would start recruitment fairs at historically Black colleges and universities. We already have a partnership with Alabama A&M where we work with them, but we could extend that to include more of those colleges and universities. We would also want to have a diverse hiring team. So that could be diverse in gender, in race, in background. That way, when we are hiring people and we are interviewing people, we have a more diverse group that's looking at them as well. And our diversity team would work alongside the principal and the superintendent to ensure diversity in the hiring process. And I would love to see our diversity team have like a central office, like representative. That way we could get stuff done at that level as well, and it not just be at the middle school level, but extend further out. So goal 3 is to address achievement gap and ACAP scores, and I was just gonna show y'all some of the data real fast. So you'll see I'm focusing on the level 1 because that's like our lowest, that's the lowest level. And you'll see that Black or African American or 2 or more races have a high level 1. So it's a 26% and 29% compared to 12% in the white category. If you look on the left is 2021's data and on the right is 2022's data. You see that Black or African, their level 1 went up. It didn't go down, but white did. So we're not doing anything to address that ethnicity and race performance level. Other levels are changing, but that level 1 is not, and that's the real concern is students that are at that level 1. So things that we've done this year and will continue to do will be in our homeroom time, would be achieve 3,000 in the IXL individualized practice, and making sure that we give incentives to students and teachers for that, like we are currently doing. I put character strong lessons just because of the achievement, I wouldn't say achievement gap, but the gap, like the mental gap that we're seeing in a post-COVID world with our kids dealing with a lot of mental issues. I think that character strong helps them to get back in the fold and learn how to be around people because we're still struggling with that years after COVID. Those students that score a level 1 would receive biweekly individualized instruction to acquire those missed skills, and they would also be put into remedial math and English like they are doing. And then I would like to see ACAP practice leading up to the test. And if you can look at that quote on the PowerPoint, it's talking about that standardized tests just really don't include any kind of diversity in the test. So I was thinking that as far as our ACAP practice, we could talk to students about what certain things mean, because I know like when they're reading things in different diverse backgrounds, especially race and ethnicity, they may have no clue what the passage is about because it doesn't relate to them in that aspect at all. So kind of teaching them how to better read passages and get them, prepared to be like, hey, you may not know anything about what this passage is about, but this is how you can get information from it. And then the last goal is to encourage the community and get families involved. So we would continue our open houses. But one thing that I would love to include as a part of the diversity plan would be to have a parent guardian survey. And they don't have to fill this out, but it's something that if they did, it would give us a lot of information. So I was thinking we could ask them things about like, how many of you work in the home? Do you work nights? What is your religious background? What is your ethnic background? And just getting that culturally responsive like survey done from the parents' perspective. And then in that survey, we could ask them what are times that are good for them as far as parent meetings and open house and things that we would do after school. So we could include different parents based on their work schedules or whatever. I think it would be good, especially with trying to fix that achievement gap, doing a testing pep rally, because I think that a lot of the times parents and students don't understand the importance of the testing. So kind of getting them ready for it. And then even including a diversity or EL night where we get those parents in and include them. And I think starting with the Black History Month assembly, that we could continue assemblies like that for different things, Women's History Month, Latina History Month, or whatever we wanted to kind of look into as far as diversity. So in conclusion, diversity in curriculum is going to benefit all students, and we should let our differences bring us together, not tear us apart. And focusing on diversity improves school culture and ensures student success in an increasingly diverse society. So society is not getting any less diverse, so schools need to start addressing that within our curriculum, within our hiring, and within every aspect of school to better service and have our kids ready for a 21st century world. So, does anybody have any questions? And I'll stop sharing for a second. All right, thank y'all.